Very good morning. Probably not morning everywhere in the world, but in South Africa it is. So very good morning to everybody that's joined us. Thank you so much for your time. We're very excited to be here today. It's our first of a series of webinar sessions called Let's Talk. And as you all know, today's session is about driving direct business to our hotels, which we all know is very, very important to us at this stage. So I'm Teresa from Revenue Resolutions, for those of you that don't know me yet, and I have two lovely ladies with me that's going to unpack this very interesting topic. And I'm going to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about them. The first lady is Angelene from Profitroom and Zineb from the Hotels Network. Oh, sorry. Angelene, do you want to introduce yourself?
Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on where you are. My name's Angelene. I work for Profitroom and I'm their Global Partnership Manager, working closely with Revenue Resolutions to bring direct booking and a booking engine into South Africa. Primarily, this is obviously where we've got born from today, but we know that we've got lots of people around the world. We are a European SaaS company. For myself, I have 10 years experience in distribution, talking hotels through revenue strategies, OTA strategies, and direct booking strategies and connectivity. So that's my background.
Thank you. Zineb?
So hi everyone, so my name is Zineb and I'm actually based in Barcelona, working from home, as you can see from my background. So I work for the Hotels Network. And for the one who don't know yet, the Hotels Network, we are a tech company that helps hoteliers to grow the direct bookings, to convert more on their websites, and to personalize the guest experience on the websites. Before joining the Hotels Network, I used to work with OTAs. So I was working for Booking.com, and then I moved to Expedia Group, managing the North African markets. And since a year now, I'm focusing on the direct bookings for Africa and Middle East markets. That's it. Thank you.
You have a very good balanced view on both sides of the edge here.
Exactly.
So feel free to pick her brain if you need to. So just quickly, you all are on mute at the moment. We're quite a large group for today. So what I would suggest is that you post your questions into the chat box. So we're going to have, we have a couple of things that we want to discuss with you, and then we'll answer and try and answer most of those questions that you have at the end of the session. So we'll keep the last 15 minutes just for the questions, if that's okay with you. So as we all know, I mean, we're living or working in a very different era at the moment. You know, behavioral patterns are very different. It's not what we used to have. So I thought we can start off with Angelene and Zineb being in different sides of the world. Just tell us a little bit about trends that they have observed in their customer base, specifically for customers around booking directly with hotels. Angelene, can we start with you again?
Yeah, of course. So from our perspective, we're obviously in Europe slightly different with our seasons. We've just had our summer, and what we actually experienced was a really high increase in domestic tourism. The staycations have boomed. Many of our resort locations have managed to recoup their losses from lockdown earlier in the year and been running at 100% occupancy. That's obviously starting to change considerably now as we move into the winter months, to the point where we've actually seen the lead time for bookings drop down to an average of 7 days. So we typically used to see 35 to 40 from a lead days. That's dropped all the way down to 7 now. And also we do see a lot higher value on those reservations. So experience, staycations, as we said before, so the packages are selling a lot better.
Fantastic. Zineb?
So I think first, I think hoteliers should be ready to receive a higher proportion on the direct bookings. So we have a lot of visitors actually going into the websites because simply they need to have informations. And information is the key today because no matter if they book today or they book later, they need to know if your property is open, if your property is closed, is the restaurant open, what kind of activities they can do around. And the best way to get those information is simply to ask you. So they are so checking your websites or they can call you, but the hoteliers are the best person to ask those questions. And this is why we have this increase of the traffic. And also on the domestic traffic, actually it's very interesting to see when the government say borders are open or hotels are open, the traffic in the domestic start to be very high and even higher than before the COVID time. So people just need information. And I think it's very, very important for hoteliers to make sure that their website is ready for this and all the information is on the website and to answer to those visitors. The second behavior that we saw also is the mobile traffic. So mobile traffic was important. Mobile was important before the COVID, but today is even more important than before. And yeah, people, they were on lockdown, they were on their mobile. And if they want to travel and they want to dream about traveling, the first place they will check is your mobile. So it's what I say is your mobile is like the first door you open when you want to go into the hotel. So when you open this door, you want to find the information you're looking for. So an advice just to make sure that your website is looking great on the mobile version 2, that you have all the great messages or the right messages for the mobile and maybe some exclusive offers for the mobile, but mobile is very important today.
Yeah, and I think I'd add one more thing to that. Is the government announcements. Never completely unprecedented that government announcements have a huge impact on hotel reservations really quickly. So, for example, in the UK, when we announced that the hotels would reopen on the 4th of July, we were seeing reservations being made every 11 seconds in some properties for the first 48 hours. So a huge increase. Then, of course, as they announce restrictions, cancellations come in, and that lead time starts to reduce. So it's monitoring those government announcements as well to ensure that you can react to those.
I think we've seen exactly the same. I so agree with both of you. Domestic travel, I mean, firstly, definitely direct with the hotels. They seem to bypass third-party platforms at the moment. And I think a lot of it has got to do with obviously wanting exact information of what's going on at the property, but also, they need to have a sense of trust. The customer needs to make sure that you follow all the protocols and etc. Make sure that my health is in good care. But one of the things that I always advocate with my clients and with hoteliers is obviously direct bookings are very, very important to us. Can you summarize for me, in your opinion, why it is so important to hotels?
Zineb, do you want to go first this time?
Yeah, I can start. Sure. So I think the first reason is obvious. I think the first reason is the costs first. Cost is the concerns of every company right now, right? So if there is a channel that will cost you less and give you a better return on investment, is the direct one. So this is a good reason, actually, that I think everybody knows this, but it's nice to remind it. There is two different reasons also. So for me, the second reason is the aim of hospitality itself. I mean, hospitality is about the relationship you have with your guests. And this is very important to know your guest, to know who he is, what he wants. And when it's a direct guest, then you will be able to satisfy them in the best way and to answer to their needs. And this is just hospitality. I mean, it's important to keep this. And if the guest is coming from a third party, he's the guest of the third party. I mean, if he needs something, he will ask the third party, not you directly. So it's the best way to get satisfied guests is to work on the direct bookings and direct bookers. The third reason for me also is simply when you get more direct bookings, you are in a better position to negotiate with third parties. And this is true, even coming from the OTAs before. If your proportion of direct bookings is high, then you will be able to negotiate your terms, your conditions, your rates, etc. But if it's not the case, I think at the end, they will get everything they want from you. And to summarize, I mean, I think the most important is just to find a balance between all the channels as are important today. Hoteliers need to get bookings anyway. So just to find a balance, not putting all the eggs in the same basket, I think we say it in this way, but yeah, it's too risky today. Just think about the direct bookings as one of your channel distribution and work on it also. So I think it's just a balance to find and give to direct bookings its fair share in this global distribution online.
Absolutely. Gosh.
Yeah, and I think from our perspective is that we can see that direct bookings are always worth more than an OTA booking as well, and this is going back since the time of OTAs. If you can get someone to book direct, then they're much likely to have dinner, have a spa treatment, do any extras that you have. A typical OTA booking already has plans outside of your property, so a direct booking is actually valued more. I mean, globally, we've seen a 34% year-on-year increase with direct bookings from a revenue perspective, where our OTAs are down 24% this year. So we are definitely seeing the rise of direct bookings.
And there's that loyalty aspect. I mean, when we went into COVID and, as we came out of it and we went into recovery mindset, I mean, we were all obviously trying to get customers to come back to us. And I mean, you start with your own loyalty, your own database of customers, and those are the easiest sell because they're already familiar with your product. They know the services you have. So direct bookings are very important to have that connection with the customer, and then obviously drive experience and then drive, loyalty between you and them. What do you think is important for hoteliers to consider when they want to increase their direct bookings? Angelene.
If I could take this one to start with, so definitely the customer journey from my perspective, and it's not losing them back to the OTA. So we know that 70 to 80% of all bookers will check out your website when they're on an OTA. So when you get them to the website, it's capturing them and converting them. That's why myself and Zineb, our companies work in partnership together, because it's grabbing them and not letting them go, making sure that customer journey is successful and providing them all the information that they need. Zineb, do you have any further comments?
So this is actually my favorite question, and I want to share my screen with you to show you some example, the reasons live. But yeah, I'm going to focus on why it's important, what we need to consider when we want to grow the direct bookings and when we want to convert more. And so actually, if we think about how we increase the conversion on the OTA side, it's not because a property is listed on booking.com, for example, that means that they're going to convert more. To convert, we need to put some actions in place, right? We need to follow some advices, etc., to be able to convert. And this is exactly the same for the direct website. So it's really important to have a great website and very easy use website, to have a great booking engine, to have the traffic coming into your website. But then hoteliers still need to put some actions in place to convert more. So I'm going to show you some examples. I'm going to try to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'm glad it works. So the first, here I have 4 points. So the first point to convert more is obviously communication. We talked about it before, but just communicating about your safety, about your hotel, if it's just is reopened or not. When someone goes into the website, talk to them as if they call you on the phone. Hey, welcome, we're open. You will be safe in our property, etc. So this is a very important things and the first thing that the client is looking for. Then, when a visitor is on the website, e-reputation is very important. We know that before buying a mobile on Amazon or watching a movie or on Netflix or booking a hotel on booking.com, the first thing we see is the reviews. We want to know what other people are thinking about your property. We want to know this information. And when we are into the website of the hotel, we need to see this information. We need to have this information on the website, because otherwise what will happen is just the visitor will go out from your website, they will go on TripAdvisor or they will go on booking.com and check for your reviews. They might book with the third parties, but maybe they're going to end up booking at another property because they found another offer. So the most important here is just when a visitor comes to your website, is just to keep these visitors and give him the most important information he wants to see. So here is an example of one of our partners. You can see that here is the reviews they have on different sources. So it can be Facebook or Google, booking.com, etc. We know it's a lot of time for properties, for hoteliers to work on this. So it should be also visible on your website. And then you can also pick up the positive reviews you want to highlight. And I think today visitors, they don't really care about the reviews before the COVID. They really want to see the recent reviews. They want to see if it's safe to stay at your property. So if you have any reviews positive about how clean is your property, how amazing it is, how safe they could feel, then put it on your website. So this is obvious, it's simple things to do, but it's very important to have on the website. The second thing, to convert more, to grow the direct bookings, is the rates, obviously. So all the OTAs, they call you and you receive many emails per month and just to have the best available rates. And this is something that it should be on your direct website. It's not easy. It's very challenging actually to have the best available rates on your website. But when the clients come to your website, first we need to show him our rates, but they need also to compare. So they're going to compare on the meta searches maybe, but what if we can tell them, hey, this is my rate, and this is my rate also at Expedia or booking.com, etc., just to make sure you prove them that the best available rate is on your website. And then highlight the perks, with the added values you give them. Even if the rates are the same, I'm going to give you 15% exclusive for the spa or the restaurant, etc. This is actually very important to highlight. The price match, I think when we have the same rates with the OTAs, it's a fact. So it's very challenging actually, but it's great to have it. But then what if the OTAs are always cheaper than you? And if they are always cheaper, I mean, if booking.com or Expedia is selling for 5% less than you, you need to fix this issue on real time. Because if we don't have the right price in the right moment, then we're going to lose the trust of these clients. Maybe he's going to end up booking in another platform or in another hotel, etc. So this is a great tool that we have actually. It's just we allow hoteliers to match the price in real time. So this is an example of one of our partners in Africa. But if Agoda is selling for 101 and hotel is 103, you just give a 4% discount to your clients and make him have the best available rate. So it's just something to, we know how it's complicated to fix the parity. It takes a lot of time to understand first and then to fix it. So it's a great tool to use. Well, the last one, I think I'm gonna try to be fast, but the last one, to increase the direct booking and to convert more, I think we need to know who is the user in our websites. We need to understand the behavior of the user. And adapt our websites on this, based on this behavior. So if we think about the different e-commerce platforms, Spotify or Netflix or Booking.com, Amazon, etc. Well, I think for me, but I think it's for everyone, anytime we go into the website, we feel like they know us. We feel like they know what I want to watch, I want to listen, which music I want to listen to, what I want to book, etc. And this should be the same in your direct websites. I had this example to show you, but we have plenty of examples to show. But if you have someone that is based in your city, then maybe it doesn't make sense for them to show them your offer you have for 7 nights, but maybe you want to show them the staycation offer you have for them, so that people, they don't see the same content depending on what they're looking for. This example is great. I think family, for example, if your family is looking to stay at your property, maybe you want to show them, if the kids, here is an example, but the kids are free of charge, of how is the kids club or activities to do around, based on their behavior. Maybe if I show them the restaurant and the spa, maybe they won't be able to book this. So just showing the right content to the right person. This is personalization, and make sure that any user that comes to the websites, you treat it as a unique visitor. I mean, because we are all unique, we don't look for the same time. And yeah, I think personalization today is a key of conversion in every platform. And I think it's important that the hoteliers has it also on his website. That's it for me.
I think I would just back that up. Right from the start, when we started having booking engines on hotel websites, it always has been, it's 100 little things that get 100 bookings. There's not one big thing. There's no hidden secret where you can just do one thing and that will increase your direct bookings. You need to understand the technology, you need to understand the mentality of your guests, and then adapt your website and your booking experience to those customers. And definitely, as we were saying, it's building that loyalty at the moment and selling the dream. Exactly. Or the experience.
Yes, I think that's really fantastic. So just humor me a little bit. So very interesting. So what we were saying is that obviously we have an audience that comes through to our website, so we need to be attractive and we need to be out there in the marketplace and, attract that customer. And then to keep the customer there, why not put all these tick boxes in place so that they don't have to go to the likes of Advisor and go and read what your reviews is, put your reviews on there. We don't have to go and search in any kind of meta search platforms. I mean, guests might not know this terminology, but they do know that they can search for better rates, show them the rates already on your website, and then sort of answering everything for them right there and then, so that they don't have to leave your site, and then convert that customer then as a direct booker with us, which I think is very interesting. The personalization and the customization of the offering, I think in hotel terms, it's probably one thing that we have really been struggling in all my years in the industry, is to speak directly to what a customer wants. I mean, if you just think of the example of Netflix, I mean, they make suggestions of what you should be watching based on your behavior. We haven't quite mastered that for hoteliers or for guests coming to hotels. So I'm very intrigued in what you had to say about that. And obviously, I'm sure everybody's thinking, parity and the price point and how we do that. So I just wanted to also mention there is a question on parity, because a lot of people did ask that beforehand. So we will come to how we bypass or how do we look at parity as well. But very, very interesting. Thank you so much for that. So me being the revenue person that I am, so once I have direct customers coming to my website, I mean, I already have a captured audience. So my view would always be, okay, well, how can we optimize the revenue that we get from that customer? If they already booked, they're coming our way, how can we optimize that revenue? What can we do to increase the spend with my property?
From my perspective, there's obviously a few different ways. The first is obviously to get more revenue out of them before they come and stay. So once you have the book, well, actually, no, there's a step back from that. Making sure during the booking process that you're offering them anything that they might like to upgrade to, room upgrades if your functionality can handle it, packages, upsells. People are building their own experiences now. They're not booking package holidays to go abroad, so they've got a higher spend for their staycations and they want to build their own package. There's nothing more frustrating than going on a hotel website and going through the process and going, oh, this is a luxury resort, but I can't even order a bottle of wine for the arrival in my room because I'm not arriving till late, and experiences like that. You then get into post-booking. If you're having a reasonable lead time, then you can be sending them a message asking them to upgrade. We always know that it's easier to get someone to spend more money after they've spent money. And psychologically, they've already committed to that amount of money. So what's another 100, £100 or the rand's equivalent for dinner, or a wine tour, or something else that you can do. And good hotels that have mastered this have tapped into their local neighborhoods as well. So we've seen hotels that have not been able to reopen their restaurants, or they have a very small restaurant selling table spaces as an upsell for a local restaurant, doing packages where you can tour around to the local restaurants and having those deals. There's various technology on the market that can help you with that, or you can also do it manually, getting the room upgrade as well. And then obviously it's the experience when you get into the hotel. I had an absolutely fantastic check-in experience recently, for the first time in a really long time, that the person behind the desk recognized what company I was from, made a comment about that company, gave me a free drink in the bar because we were partners, and just really made me want to stay in the hotel to spend money.
I like that idea. Zineb?
Yeah, so I'm going to come back again to what I said before. I think if we have a client that is already interested to book our property and we want him to spend more, I think the first thing, the most important, is to know who he is. Always talking about data, but if we know who is this person and what he wants, what he's looking for, then we're going to be able to give him the right product, the right offer to make him book other things. So for example, if I know that this person, I have a couple that is looking at my property. I know they're a couple, so maybe if I show them the great offer I have for the spa or the dinner at this romantic restaurant, maybe they're going to be able to book this because I know what they're looking for. And yes, it's all about knowing what they're looking for. And we have actually something that a lot of our partners they're using is about the offers for the long stay. So offers for the long stay are super important today. Why? Because if you know that your visitor is searching for 3 nights and you have this information, then you will be able to show him the offer you have for 5 nights, for example, and say, hey, why don't you stay 2 more nights with you and you get this special offer for you, etc. And if you know this user, if you know his behavior, I think you have more chance to influence his behavior actually and make him book more or make him stay longer, etc. So I think knowing the user is the key if we want to upsell more. And there's one thing that we launched. There is a product that we launched lately during the COVID, and it has been asked by our partners, and it has a big success actually. Is the voucher product. So voucher product, it's something that before we didn't use them, we didn't hear about them that much, but today it starts to be very important. Why? Because simply you can sell first with the voucher, sell now, you get revenue now for future stays, That's a great thing, but also you can sell all the other point of sales. So maybe you have someone in your city, but he's more interested by your spa. So you can maybe have this voucher for the spa and this amazing offer for the brunch on Sunday or whatever. It depends. It's really nice to see how our partners, they are so original about how to use those vouchers. But vouchers actually, they use and they have a big success. So why not using them just to have more revenue and make your clients and visitors pay something more because you have this amazing offer on the spot. So yes, I think those points are for me important to upsell.
So again, I like the touching on the customization and the personalization of the customer stay. If we know that this customer, I don't know, is into golfing, to being able to upsell anything relating to golfing obviously would make a lot more sense. So I really like that. The voucher as well. I mean, we all know that vouchers escalated hugely over COVID. We've got a couple of voucher, I think, partners on the call today as well. Very interesting concept. I mean, I saw a hotel that even used the voucher system for people to pay off their holiday, where cash flow at the moment is not so great for us as domestic travelers. I thought it was a great concept to do. But also, Angelene, just to come back to a comment that you were talking about, the upselling of ancillary spend or extras within the hotel. One thing that I found with my customer base generally is when I'm in the process of booking my room online, a lot of the hotels will then offer additional spend items, to add onto your itinerary. But personally, and I might be wrong, but personally, I've never had a huge success in that. And I think a lot of time, because people are already investing in their room and the accommodation, they want to spend too much, so they skip their process. But what I found is if you then send them a pre-arrival letter and then prompt them, because then I'm getting excited about my holiday, and then I start forking out a little bit. So, then I splash a little bit on dinner or a high tea or a whatever event, wine tastings or whatever your offering is. So I think that timing is also very, very important when we actually propose the ancillary spend to the customers so that they can spend more at the property.
Yeah, completely. I mean, we shouldn't overload the guest at that stage by giving them 150 different upsells that they should be able to do, that possibly can buy. We need to have a few. They need to be related to the packages as well. So need to ensure that the functionality handles those upsells so that if you've already booked a dinner, bed and breakfast package, you don't get offered dinner again. And then we're talking about the post-auxiliary spend. That's why companies such as Upsell Guru have been so successful, because you can spend, people will spend more afterwards, not during the process. So you are completely right. It's more about having the right packages, the right experiences in the first instance, a very small handful of upsells depending on your type of property. One of my biggest gripes is always if you see a budget hotel that then has a bottle of champagne as an upsell for 3 times the price of a room. It's just never going to get, it's just out of proportion to that budget. So it's making sure that those upsells during the customer journey are accurate to your type of property and what your guests might be looking for. If you're a budget hotel, then you want a cheap bottle of house wine adding on, for example. But you're right, it is about getting that careful balance, and it is on a property by property basis.
Fantastic. So very exciting and very interesting information to obviously get direct business and to build the spend that customer is going to obviously fork out at your property. Let's touch a little bit on the more not so nice topics. So I think, Zineb, I'm going to start with you. Have OTA background. So I always say that the OTAs has to form part of my direct booking strategy. We can't compete from a marketing budget against a Booking.com or Expedia. So let them do the work and let them find the customer for you. And then when the customer checks into my hotel, it's my responsibility to then work the direct aspect into that. Do you have any opinion on that?
I think when we think about how the OTAs can bring direct traffic into your website, so obviously better ranking you have on the OTAs, more traffic you have on the website. This is a fact. If you have a good relationship and you have a good business and you optimize the partnership you have with your OTAs, then you're going to have more direct bookers. And those people, once they are on the website, we have to be ready. This is what about the Booking Direct. So just be ready to catch those ones and tell them, hey, this is the best place for you to book my property. So I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you this, and you stay with me. But yes, they are very important. And I think it's very important to optimize every channel. Every online channel is very important to optimize, and yeah, because we need them all. But then you need to, once they will go into your direct website, it's important to catch those clients. And I think to talk about the OTAs, I mean, we think about the ones that visit your website after checking Booking.com or Expedia, whatever. But also we need to remind also that the clients that already comes to your place from the OTAs and they stay at your place, they can be also direct bookers. So once they are at your property, make sure that if they want to come back, they will book direct. Loyalty is very important, and taking the time to know your clients and make him be a loyal guest, it's a great chance. It could be coming from an OTA, but it could be also from corporate agency, it could be from a tour operator, because those people came once, but maybe they're going to come back for other reasons. So just make sure that you take care of your guests, wherever they come from, and to be ready to make them be direct bookers.
Yeah, and I think from my perspective, the OTAs are going to come out kicking and swinging from this change. They are going to be seeing a drop in their revenue. So they are going to be going more aggressive after their clients and checking hotels' website. It can be a nasty trap to get into, where you see a Booking.com genius rate and say, well, I'm going to drop my rates, and then the OTA can complain at you or not complain, depending on the local rules that apply in your region. So for me, it's much more about just making sure that you match the OTA in price, and then provide extra added value to that guest when they're coming. If you are a high turnover sort of corporately budget hotel, we can look at free Wi-Fi, free drink on arrival, anything like that, which might get them to stay. Plus obviously making sure the customer journey is okay. But we must make sure that our rankings, our content, as Zineb was saying, stay where they are and improve on the OTAs. If you suddenly turn around and have a 6.9 on Booking.com, that's obviously going to really affect your direct bookings. Just from personal experience, depending on the region, I would never stay in anything less than an 8.5. And I probably always check Booking.com before I book a hotel direct, because I want to see some honest reviews. And there is that kind of customer expectation there.
No, and I totally agree. I mean, please don't get me wrong that you should steal directly from the OTS. They're very important to us. We still need to look after them. It's just, once the customer is there, then convert them to your own. And yeah, because a lot of hotels question that with me, saying like, well, we can't do that. Of course, it's your customer. The moment they walk through the door, that you own that customer. Yeah, and there's various ways that we can then bring that customer in. I suppose what I've not really touched on there is how we get around Genius rates and Expedia loyalty rates. Well, you can have your own hidden rates and offer those prices, which then do not break any parity rules. So if Genius Booker are offering
10% off on booking.com, always use them as an example. You can then have a newsletter or a loyalty program where all the guest needs to do is pop in their email address and they get the same discounts. We need to be careful that we don't put lower discounts, because then booking.com will lower their rates and then Expedia will lower their rates, because they're within their rights to take hits on their commission to sell you for a cheaper rate than what you are selling at. So it is important to keep that parity.
So parity was one of the big questions, that's come up. The pre-registration asked for questions, and parity comes up a lot. And I do get hoteliers at this stage of the game, we want to offer the best rate that we can so that we can get the customer in. They need cash flow, but having to fork out 18% or 15% commission to the OTAs, they can't quite give the OTA the same price. So the question around parity was exactly that. So how do we get around it? So you've touched on a few examples already: the newsletter, the private sign-in, we can lock them behind codes, etc. Do you have any other ideas or any other examples that hoteliers can help themselves or use to not get into parity? Obviously, there's generic parity and there's offering parity.
One of my I feel that a lot of hotels also tend to forget about their other incoming bookings, so via email and telephone, which still can take up at least 50% of some hotels' reservations. And you would probably be surprised at how many times you can phone a hotel and say, I've seen you on booking.com at this price, and can you do me any better? And the response is no. So there's that front desk training as well, being able to, not necessarily the technology, obviously the technology can help, but making sure that all staff that are taking reservations or offering reservations to potential guests know how to, one, lower the rate if they need to match an OTA price, and two, be able to upsell to that guest at the time.
Absolutely. Zineb?
Yes. So if I can add something about the parity and about how hoteliers, they want to give a special discount in the website. I think everyone wants the best available rates, and parity is fair enough. Everybody wants, because they will bring business anyway. And then when you give the best available rates to the OTAs, then as Angelene said, they're going to ask you for 10% for mobile, then it's going to be 10% for the members, and then 10% by IP addresses, by country, but then it's going to be by continent. And if it's not enough, they're going to take your wholesaler rates and they're going to sell them online, and they will end up always having the best available rate. So sometimes some properties can fight against this, but this is, I think, the most challenging things from what we see with our partners is just to have the best available rates and to match those rates. And if you give 10% on the mobile for booking.com, then you have to give it also to your direct mobile customers. And members also the same. If you have their email address, just send them 10% discount, etc. So I think actually it's more challenging to fix parities, to match those rates, than giving an extra discount on the direct website. But then I think we don't need necessarily to give a discount. I think added values is something really, really important. And hoteliers, I think they need to think about what is the best value add they can give direct, what will make the difference for the visitor, but also compared to your competitors, what is the plus? And yeah, of course, OTAs, they will ask also for late checkout, all the added values. But if you have to give the best added values you have, give it to the direct channel, because you're going to have the best return on investment on it. And this is a really important point to take into consideration. And if I can give an example, I have a partner in Casablanca, so it's corporate city, and this partner, he gives the same rates to everyone, but room only. And only in his websites, he's offering for the same rate the breakfast. And the direct bookings he has, it's actually amazing because obviously if you compare for the same rates, I'm going to have the breakfast. Obviously I go direct. Who wants to pay extra breakfast, etc.? So there are some added values that we need really to think about it and see what's the value. I have another one because I love the added values. Actually, I think it's really great before giving a discount. I have a client, actually a local chain in Africa. So if you want to book this, their hotels, you use the credit card in every website, but only in their website, they remove the credit cards. And it's amazing what happened because once they decided to remove, and we know how, I mean, for Africa, it's complicated to pay by credit cards. I know how this is challenging, etc. So the number of bookings is amazing. They have bookings for April and May 2021 because they don't have the credit cards on the website. And that makes the difference. And people will choose to be the flexibility to, they might have cancellation for sure, but at the end, I think they will, if they have to choose, they will choose the direct bookings. So yeah, so this is added values is really important. But if really the hotel wants to give an extra discount, then it's very simple to do. And Angelene, you know how this and Teresa too, it's just a promo code. A promo code is something that OTAs will never shop your promo code. They will shop the initial price you have, but only your guests can see your promo code. So if you want to go to give 10 extra % to the UK market, then you can do it on your website and nobody will be upset and nobody will shop those rates, just a promo code on your website.
So you have, of course, speak my language. I love value adds. Make money through value adds, right? So if you take your rate, if you have R1,000 rate at your establishment, and 18% of that is going to go to booking.com already, instead of discounting it, take the value of the 18% and give it back to the customer. Not only are you keeping the revenue in your property, but if you think about the experience, and I'm all for experience and creating memories with my kids when I travel, I will far more remember the gin and tonic cocktail I had on your veranda, what was you paid for, not me, than the 10% that I earned that I don't even remember in 2 weeks' time that I got discounted. So you have to be very strategic in how you place those offerings, so that you can convert higher, but also you protect it. So on the parity, if I can just summarize it, so you have generic rates, you have your bar rates, your rack rates, whatever we call it these days. Those you give the same to all the different platforms. And then you have promotional rates that runs off that. When you look at parity, make sure that if you give a promotional rate, that all your platforms can run the same promotion. We're so quick to activate a geographical special, and then you come to your own website. Your own website can't do that. Your own website is an OTA in a way as well. You need to treat them exactly the same way. So make sure you apply the same across, and then once you have all those boxes ticked, the only parity that will then come in is when the OTA discounts off their commission, which of course you can also handle, and you can also manage that process. But yeah, then put everything behind promo codes or login details, or be creative with it, or add value in. I love the breakfast one. I'm definitely going to use that. Only on my breakfast for free at the hotel. I really like that one.
And I think I would just add one more thing to that as well, when we were talking about promo codes and putting in the added value, is for the revenue managers and the people that set that up that are on the call, is set yourself a weekly reminder to check them. Check them on your website, check that they are still working, because things happen with technology, or rate plans just expire. It's making sure that you never have a rate code or a promo code that doesn't work, and people get blank pages, or sorry, that's not available. It's ensuring that works.
And just a tip as well, OTAs can only manipulate their own commissions if they collect the money on your behalf. If the customer has to pay at the hotel, then obviously they can't manipulate their commission because they have to claim it afterwards. So a little trick that I've learned.